Hi guys, I'm Alicia, and today I'm discussing Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. This book was way better than I expected. I don't really read contemporary books. I'm more into fantasy and dystopian, but this book really surprised me. I really enjoyed it. First, before I get into the book, I'm going to give a little non-spoilery section. So, if you have not read this book, it is about a girl named Lou. She's 27 years old, lives with her mom and dad in a small town, and her sister's kid, and she loses her job, and the only job really she can find that pays as well as it does is a caregiver for this 35-year-old man in a wheelchair. This man is really unhappy with life, and her job is to kind of get him to see that life can still be good even though he's in a wheelchair. He's quadriplegic, so he can't move anything below his neck. So it's just the stories about their journey together through these 6 months that she's employed, and it's a really beautiful story. I don't want to give too much of the tone away because I went into it thinking it was a love story, and I'm just going to say, I hope this doesn't spoil anything, it's not really a love story. There is an aspect of romance in it, but it's not really romantic at all. It's not what the book's about. I really enjoyed it. So that's it for the non-spoilery section. So yeah, if you have not read it, don't watch the rest of this because you won't want to be spoiled. And if you have, then enjoy. I hope you comment below your thoughts and feelings too. I really want to discuss this. I'm so excited. Starting now. I love Lou, but it took me a bit to love Lou because it just seemed very boring and bland. You know, she lost her job. She doesn't really know what she's doing with her life, which I guess is the point at the beginning of the book. She leads a very boring life. I love Lou now because she's so relatable. She's clumsy and awkward and has a very unique fashion sense, I guess. She's broke. She hasn't gone off to university yet. I can relate. She reads a lot, she watches TV a lot, and that's my life basically. So along with work, which is exactly her, and I'm so awkward too. I'm so socially awkward, guys. So I can relate to Lou a lot on that level. Will, I didn't think I could relate near as well to, obviously, because he's in such a terrible situation. You know, he used to live such a full life and now he's in a wheelchair, and it was just so sad. I cried so much at this book. I don't usually cry at contemporary books. I don't know what it is. I will cry if I'm really emotionally invested in a character in a fantasy series or something, but contemporary books I just have a really hard time getting into, relating to the characters, and so I'm usually not as emotional over them. I don't really cry. But this book, literally, when I was sobbing in the names in this book, we have Will, which is, I love that name. I always have, really. But what really did it for me is William Herondale from the Infernal Devices series. He is like my book husband. I love him so much, and I was so psyched when we had another Will in this book. I wasn't really feeling bad for Will when his ex-girlfriend came in with Rupert, because honestly Will was such an angry, kind of mean man when we first meet him, and I did feel bad because he's a quad, but then he was being an asshole, and honestly I didn't think their relationship was that close. They weren't together for that long. Obviously she didn't love him that much if she's engaged to a guy so shortly after his accident. I guess it's 2 years, but I think she was with Rupert right after his accident. The moment I really started to get invested in the characters in the story is when we go to the hospital with Will for his checkup. He's finally out of the house, and Lou sees the scars on his wrist, and you realize Will's tried to kill himself before. That's when my brain kind of started. I'm like, okay, obviously she's not there for any medical thing. She's just supposed to look after him. And that's when I kind of realized that Will's mom had employed Louisa to make sure Will didn't hurt himself before the 6 months were up. Then you find out that Will wants to die. This whole book is kind of a thing on assisted suicide. Will wants his parents' help to commit suicide, and finally his parents agree. And I wanted to judge the parents, but honestly I can't. I don't know enough about it. I don't know how I would even react in that situation. It's a horrible situation to be in. Like, I can't even imagine the pressure and just the devastation that his parents and Will are even going through. I can't understand it, and I won't try and judge them. I'm not judging them. It is a very controversial topic, especially with the law that was just passed in Canada about assisted suicide. It made it legal less than a month ago, so it is a fairly new topic, and there's a lot of discussions and debates going on about it right now. It's definitely such a hard subject to talk about, and I can't believe she wrote a book about it. I think it was a beautiful story still, and honestly, it's just, I love how it showed all the different stances on assisted suicide. We have Lou's mom, who is completely against assisted suicide, so much that she kicks Lou out when she goes to Will. Her mom says, "Don't come back if you leave this house now," and Lou ends up leaving. At first I was so shocked that the mom would say that to her own daughter. She believes that it is basically murder too. It's so wrong to ask people to do that. And I can't say I agree completely with that statement, but definitely an eye-opener when her mom acted like that. And the other angle we get to see is Nathan's. Nathan is kind of like, I don't want him to die, but it's Will's choice. I love him and he's miserable. It is his choice, and so, you know what, whatever he agrees or comes up with, that's fine with me. And I thought it was very sad. The first cute scene in this book was the concert night, and that line just tugged at my heart. He says, I just want to be a man who would go into a concert with a girl in a red dress just a few minutes longer. It's kind of where you see Will at one of his more vulnerable moments, because usually Will is a very emotionally kind of closed off person. He's angry, he hates the world, and that's all you can see when you see his character in the book. But at this, he was more open and honest about his feelings, and he was trying to enjoy the moments of life he had left with Louisa, and I think it was really sweet that he was opening up to her like that. Lou was talking about the maze night, and at first that part wasn't really interesting me until you went back to it. I kind of realized that Lou was talking about being sexually assaulted or whatever happened to her on maze night. That's what I assumed, and you find out later on in the book that that is what happened. That's when I realized that both these characters have been dealt a pretty shitty hand in life, some more so than others. But Lou definitely, I mean, she's poor, she is losing her job, she hasn't been anywhere, and you know, and then to go through this, and she hasn't told anyone about it except her sister, and she thinks it's her fault. And again, I was really feeling bad for Lou at that point, because she is such a sweet person, and you know, she just really has had a really rough start to her life. And I love how Will was able to pull her out of her comfort zone and kind of push her in new directions at the end of the book. It was so sweet. Although sad at the end of the book, where she's finally, you know, her own person. She has the resources she needs to go off and become a better person and do what she loves to do. And she has the ability to go and create a better life for herself finally after knowing Will. This whole book, I thought Patrick was such an asshole. Okay, even at the start of it, all that man cares about is his stupid muscles and his stupid running, and he doesn't care about Lou at all, and it's so obvious. All I could think during all their scenes was dump him. Like, please, when are you going to dump him? And she finally does, after he gets all pissed at her for going on that stupid vacation with Will. Not that the vacation was stupid. The vacation was not stupid. I loved it. But Patrick was being stupid about it. I hate his character. And apparently in the movie he's being played by the same person who plays Neville Longbottom. I don't know how I'm gonna like that, but we'll see. I'm so excited to watch the movie, guys. The next scene that really moves the plot and the story along, especially between Lou and Will, is her birthday scene, where Will comes over to her house and he gets her the bumblebee leggings, guys. So cute. I love that scene where she's like jumping up and down, all excited, and I was excited for her, and Will was just, it's the first time in the book I felt maybe he is changing his mind. They're just so cute together, and it's not a romantic way. This whole book, it's not a love story. It's a story about two people who are dealt a shitty hand in life, and they come together and they become friends, and they really make such a difference in each other's lives, and it's so sweet, and it's just about personal growth for both of them. Patrick's just sitting there, got her a bracelet, and she's like, oh, well, I don't want that. Cool. I don't wear jewelry. He was so jealous and possessive of Louisa because she's feeding Will, and I'm like, that's your freaking job. Can't they at least be friends? Like, back off, Patrick, okay? He's not gonna be outrunning you anytime soon. No need to get jealous. Trina really kind of bugged me as a character up until, you know, the last kind of bit of the book. I did end up kind of liking her character, but again, I didn't find Trina very relatable at all. I did like the part of the book where it was from her perspective, though. It was such an eye-opener, and it just made me appreciate my relationships with my siblings so much more, because her sister does stick up for her in front of her parents, and she's just always there for Lou when Lou needs her, and I just really love that about them. The relationship was cute. The part in the book where I could not stop crying, I had to put the book down, and then I went back to the book, because this beach scene where they're on vacation and they finally have the discussion, and Lou tells Will that she loves him, and Will says, even with you, this life, this isn't enough for me, and I'm still going to go through with it. And I lost it. I realized that Will was going to die, and there was nothing that Lou could do to stop it. Lou had the determination and put in all this effort to make this vacation perfect, and then Will gets sick, and even though he didn't get to experience it, she gets to experience so much and gets to see part of the world that she didn't before. It was just such an emotional adventure for both of them. Such an emotional trip, and that conversation that they had on the beach just had me in tears. And then of course she gets really mad at him. She refuses to talk to him, and there wasn't that much book left, and I was really worried that we wouldn't get to see any more interactions between them. She was just waiting around the house, you know, Trina and her parents were kind of looking after her, and finally a phone call comes in, and I thought it was for sure to tell her that Will had died, but it turns out that Will wanted to see her one more time, and so she gets on the plane and goes to Switzerland. And their last conversation, of course, had me in tears again, because I kind of couldn't wrap my head around that this is the last scene that he's going to be alive. Like, this book, this book ripped out my heart and tore it to shreds and burned all the pieces. I can't even explain why I was so emotional over this book, because I don't usually react this way to contemporary books. It really shows that life does continue after death. Not in the sense of like an afterlife, that's not what I'm talking about, but in the sense that when you lose someone that you love very much, it's hard, but you have to go on with your life without them. And I just thought it was a very beautiful way of showing that, where Lou finally, after his death, is changed for the better. And although she'll miss him, she is doing other stuff with her life. She's going on, she's moving forward, and she's gonna have so many more memories because of him. Everyone should really give this book a chance before saying, oh, I'm not reading that, it's on assisted suicide, and I'm against that, and blah blah blah. Because it wasn't completely on that. It was just about moving through difficult situations and how to deal with stuff that you didn't think you could face. There is a next book in this series called After You. I don't think I'm going to read it, honestly, because the end of this book I felt was the end. I don't want to read any more about Lou without Will, because I don't think I could deal with that whole book without Will in it. And also, I want to imagine what her life is after Will's death. I don't want to read about it. I just want to picture her going to school and living on her own and traveling and experiencing all that stuff. And I have such a good vision in my head, and I don't want to ruin that with the second book. So you guys can comment below what you thought of it. I might pick it up sometime in the future, but nowhere soon, because I'm not ready for it emotionally after reading this. I'm still stuck on moments in this book. Those were my thoughts on this book. I really loved it. I'm so excited for the movie. I'm just so excited to see this brought to life. And it's the character who plays off of the Hunger Games. We have Finnick, Sam Claflin, and he's so cute, and I think he's perfect for that role. Share your thoughts down below. I'd love to discuss this book, because really I want to know if it was as emotional and definitely eye-opening for other people as well. Yeah, that was my second ever book talk. And my third one, I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, but there's Passenger, or we have Six of Crows, which, in case you guys didn't realize, I kind of named my book channel after, because I could not think of a title for my book channel, and finally I was like, you know what, I had just bought Six of Crows like maybe a day or two before that, and it was just sitting there, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna name it something book related. Six of Crows, Six of Books, you know, ish. I don't even know what that means yet, if it's even in the book and it means something, but we'll see when we get there, and maybe it turns out to be a really weird username, but you know what, I'm keeping it. The other option for what I'm reading next is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I don't know, I've heard really good things about this book. I've been wanting to read it forever, and I finally did, and it might be the next book I read. Or possibly Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. She's Sarah J Maas's best friend, and that's how I kind of found this book, because I love Sarah J Maas's books, and I found this one and I really want to read it. That's gonna be sometime soon. Bye!